All right, guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to just play this video that I put together earlier this week that kind of hopefully got you excited to be here while people are entering the room. Do let us know in the chat, where are you tuning in from?
Your past, your emotions, your biological reactions, your identity, they're all stored in your water. Not in your mind, not in your story, but in the field your water holds. What if you could release years of emotional weight without reliving a single painful memory? What if you could transform your life not by trying harder, but by changing the water your body is made of? What if healing wasn't something you chased, but something that naturally unfolded the moment your water remembered who you are? Because it can, and it is. My name is Anahata Holly Hollowell, and for the past decade, I've been teaching a modality called water activation, a science-backed, soul-aligned way to transform the body, the mind, and the timeline through the most fundamental substance we are made of, water. When we recode that field, the past reorganizes, the future realigns, and the present becomes coherent. And when your present is coherent, everything changes. Relationships shift, old patterns dissolve, your body softens and breathes again. The path forward becomes clear. It's not magic, it's biology, it's memory. It's the language of the body remembering itself. I'm hosting a special event, Water Activation, a new paradigm for healing and coaching. We are entering an era where healing is somatic, coherent, and sovereign, where we don't outsource our well-being to someone else, but remember how to activate it from within. Water activation is not about channeling or diagnosing or reliving trauma. It's about guiding the client to work with the water inside them, the water that already knows how to return to balance. It is safe, it is rapid, and it is beautifully simple. It's opening a new career path for those who feel called to support others in a deeper, more embodied way. Whether you're already a healer, a coach, or you're just beginning to step into your purpose, you can learn this practice and confidently begin serving clients in as little as 4 days. This event is your invitation to step into the future of transformation through the most fundamental element of life. If something in your body, your heart, your water is saying yes, then I invite you to register now and join us. Click the link. Claim your spot. It's free. The new paradigm is here. Coherence is the currency, and water is the master key.
All right. Yes. Yes, please. I'm so glad you're here. Uh-oh, it's starting again. There we go. All right, cool. So welcome in, everyone. We have Larry from Minnesota. We have Claire from the UK. Sharon is in New Zealand. And Ranita is in Louisville, Kentucky, but she doesn't have an accent. We have South Carolina here, Angelina. And Tracy is hearing me perfectly. That's awesome. Doriana, Arizona. We have Australia. Ooh, Gemma. I think it's the middle of the night for you. So, wow, really exciting that you're here. I'm so pleased. Barb is in Canada. So, guys, we've got people from all around the globe, and it's super exciting. We've got Sprite Spring here in Iowa, and others will probably be joining. Sometimes the time zone change that we recently had throws people off. Joanne, you're tuning in from California. Awesome. Okay, guys, welcome, 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 welcome. I'm so, so glad you're here. Um, get cozy, make sure you have a glass of water, perhaps a notebook. Even if you don't end up becoming a practitioner, today's going to be life-changing. At the end, we're going to align with the future self. I heard from someone who is calling in from a hospital bed. This is what they're going to need for healing too. So wherever you're tuning in from, welcome. I do love seeing the grid of consciousness lighting up across the globe. Go ahead and put where you're tuning in from if you haven't already. You're joining me for the water activation it's a new paradigm for healing and coaching. And so we're going to explore quite a few things today. What is water activation actually? What's the science? Because if you know me, I do get very scientific. How does memory and emotion live in the fluid body? And why is that your identity? I'm going to give you some real case studies, real results. I'm going to, of course, share with you how you can step into this modality if it's something you want to do to get certified. Many of you are already in that process and or are certified. There are 72 total practitioners or practitioners in training all around the world since June. And so this is on demand now. And so when I'm describing the course series later, just know that you can take it as fast or as slow as you want. And also, the door will be open forever for you to join all the upcoming cohorts, which we're going to get another one going live soon. All right, so let's just close our eyes, soften our attention, drop in to your body. And I want you to put your hand on your heart and another hand on your lower belly and just breathe. Nothing fancy, just breathe and pause and breathe out. And you may want to say, Velaren, I breathe with you. That simple phrase is really just reminding your system what it already knows. And that is that we are not here to force anything. We're here to remember. So this is our collective intention for today: coherence, remembrance, possibility. And I want the next 45 minutes to really open the field for you for a new understanding, new potential pathways. This could be totally different, out of your wheelbox, something you've never done. Or you could have 50 certifications and you've been doing quantum healing for a decade like I have. Welcome in. All of us are here at the perfect time for us. And so let's dive in and water pun intended. I'm not making any apologies for that. Okay, so how did we get here? Not that it matters, but I do want to share my experience with you. How did I end up teaching something I call water activation instead of, managing brands, creating marketing campaigns? That's what I went to school for, and I did for 15 years, a respectable corporate life. And, I was one of those types of people. I did wear suits, and I attended more meetings about meetings than I care to admit. And so all walks of life. And then I got laid off and I was like, okay. But it was actually the universe saying, this is not what you're meant to be doing. And so it was great because that cracked me wide open. I had a young daughter at the time. Now she's 15. And I just wanted to be with her. I wanted to stay at home. I wanted to follow my bliss through, surrender. And I'm a triple Pisces. So I've always been psychic, and I just knew this was not my life, and I wasn't going to go back to corporate America. And then I received my divine download, and this was not a voice, from the heavens. This was a remembrance through asking, and this birthed the Anahata codes. And the key information that came through is that water holds memory, and that memory can be rewritten, and that we are already connected to everything through the all, and that we live in a illusional, fractalized reality. And so, yes, it's real, but it's coded, and we can tap into it. So I, from that point on, decided, you know what, I'm going to go on a deep dive. Quantum biology, epigenetics, water science, coherence theory, and ... It just keeps going. And I was studying everything from structured water to photonic signaling and then pieces of the puzzle were just coming in divine timing and flow. And my main phrase was, you can't make this shit up, because it was just mind boggling how I would ask for information and it would just land in my lap. And so the assisting frequencies is really what I've been working with through water. And these are vibrational inputs. They aren't guessing. And this is not channeling, just FYI. It's very specific instructions, and these codes are numbers. They are not random, but they've got unmistakable resonance signatures. And I've been testing, tracking, refining, and watching people shift without reliving their trauma for a decade now. And they don't have to understand their story. They, just need to be present in the now and stop fragmenting in the past or the future. And that's what the three glass process is all about. So the other part of this is one day my dad, he's really into genealogy. He says, "Do you know where our last name comes from?" And I don't know where Hollowell comes from. And so he said, "Oh, it means of the holy wells." And I was like, "What?" And he proceeded to tell me that my ancestors were literally caretakers of sacred water springs. Huh. Interesting. Because this was already 7, 8 years into my journey teaching this stuff. And so my direct lineage, not far up in the distant past, keepers of memory, of blessing, of healing. And I suddenly realized, oh, that's why I'm doing this. So this sense of stewardship, that it's not random, it is remembrance. And we know this is called epigenetics, ancestral experiences. We also get the trauma though, but we do get wisdom, skill, intuition. Those are all passed down in the memory of the body as well. And so the point is, it travels through the water. And when we heal our water, we don't just heal ourselves, we heal backward and forward in time, our ancestors and our descendants. And that's what's so special about water activation. It can resolve patterns that never began with you. And you are clearing waters you inherited, and you're blessing waters that will one day become future children and their children. And I have spent, as I said, over the last decade now studying this mystical substance. And yet it makes up nearly everything that we are. And so it blows my mind to think that, we are focused on the 0.01%. We ignore, it's like the fish. You say, "Where's the water?" And they go, "What water?" It's everywhere to where they don't see it. And so it's no wonder that we feel fragmented because we're looking through a straw. When we return to the water, the memory, the body, that holy well within us, we literally return to wholeness. And that is what the root word of healing is, a return to the memory of wholeness. And so I knew this wasn't mine, it was ours. I used to do these sessions that I teach you in the water activation certification just myself. I didn't teach it to anyone until this year. And then I was like, I need to give this to everyone. We need to be able to do this. It's a complete system. It's touched thousands of lives just through me, every background, every belief system, because water isn't, it doesn't discriminate. It's not just for those who have a certain vibration. And so the mission is really clear for me. I want to create a global wave of water activation practitioners, people who are helping others to return to coherence without diagnosing, without trying to be a guru, without re-traumatizing. And so again, it's my honor to be here, to clear what is not yours, to restore what is, and to really help you tend the wells for our future generations. Even if you plan on having no kids, this ripples out. It's very, very good for the collective conscious revolution that we're going through right now. All right, so you don't have to be gifted, you don't have to be psychic, and your last name doesn't have to be Hollowell. Isn't that good news? All right, you're already fluent in water. You just don't know it. You may not remember. All right, so let's get into what is water activation in plain English. All right. At its core, water activation is really a self-healing modality that re-encodes the water of your body. I call it in my light memory book, getting all of you on board with all of you. It's simple, it's elegant, it's shockingly effective. And instead of working on the story of who you are, we work with the water that stores the story. And so in this process, we move through 3 key phases: releasing the past. So that's emotional memory, patterning held in your fluid body ancestrally, etc. Selecting your future water. What's the probability line you want to embody? And then anchoring it into the present water, which brings those timelines into coherence now, not when. It's not a someday out there, somewhere out there, someday. It's we're not time traveling. It's timeline hydration. You become it in the now, and the world rises up to show you through a lot of scientific things, such as the reticular activating system, RAS, and others. So I know it may sound sci-fi, but the science is very, very grounded. I'm going to share with you some pioneers in a minute. Water does hold identity, reaction patterns, emotional bias, and habit loops. So when you update the water, your system literally reorganizes automatically. You don't even have to know how. Again, there's no channeling, there's no talking to, you know, whoever. This is just you somatically. And also, there's no diagnosing or analyzing. You're going to go on the biggest adventures when you do sessions for people. My mouth always just open. I cry. It's just like, wow. And so it's client led. That's the other thing. No two sessions are the same, and it's perfect for the person who is led to you. And it's somatically integrated. So it's not in your head, it's in your heart, and it's in your fascia. And it's non-hierarchical as well, right? You're not the guru. You're not saying, let me fix you, because the body already knows how to return to coherence. You're just simply helping them remember and reclaim their sovereignty. And so it really does honor everyone's capacity for innate healing. There's no middleman. They can start really seeing changes immediately. And that's when the transformation begins, and they're just going to be blown away. So let's look through the science of water real quick. There's 99.92% of you molecularly is water, not 70. They say 70, but molecularly, it's almost everything. So this is biology, physics. That's what it is. So biology is speaking, and you're a walking, talking bag of consciousness soaked water, temporarily held together by minerals and personality. That's it, essentially. And that water, as I said, is not passive. It holds memory. It carries emotional imprint, biological history, environmental influence, and coherent or incoherent patterning. So if water can hold story, can you also change the story? And the answer, demonstrated repeatedly, is yes. Water is programmable, and just as importantly, reprogrammable, probably more so. So earlier pioneers to modern visionaries, this is cutting edge stuff. You could look up Dr. Masaru Emoto. You could look up Gerald Pollack. You could look up Luc Montagnier. You could look up Bruce Lipton or Fritz Albert Popp. And then my friend, my dear friend, I feel like she's my dear friend. We barely know each other. I've never met her in person, but Veda Austin, the water crystallographer, who knows her. So she's got my books rather, and she's been so busy with the launch of her book, but she's going to work with Anahata Codes. We're going to work together soon. So the point is, I didn't make this up, right? Water communicates, it listens, it responds, it remembers, it reorganizes, and it does this through structured coherence. This is order versus chaos. It does it through photonic signaling, which is light communication. It does it through electromagnetic fields. This is why I like to put a little bit of not cell salt, of Himalayan salt in my water, because you are essentially a battery. And water is the original data storage. So it's the biological hard drive, which means when water changes, the body changes. And perhaps most importantly, your identity changes, because you're never going to experience anything outside of who you think you are. So we're not fighting with the mind. We're communicating with the substrate that tells the mind what reality is and therefore what comes to you. So this is very, very scientific. It's not woo. And I want to get into the quantum model to just widen the lens a little bit, the quantum mechanics, if you will, of water activation. And this gets really fun because we think of memory as neurons, brain libraries, right? Holding every moment we've ever lived. No. And memory is held in the water, as I said, not just inside the molecules, but also in etheric water. So this is going to blow your mind. They have found that water carries memory not just in, but around the field. That's crazy. They're going to be replacing microchips eventually with water because it can carry things in the field around it, etheric water. And so it extends beyond form, and it is a hard drive of your identity, essentially. It interfaces directly with consciousness as well. The wormhole of water connects to Akashic records and every potential timeline you could imagine. We're going to be we're going to experience that later. Grab a glass of water at the very end. I'm going to take you on a quick, you're going to understand what I mean. And so trauma and dis-ease can finally be resolved, even if you've got a really rough past. Your identity will shift. The water is re-encoded and then the memory, you guys, the past doesn't exist, only how you feel about it, right? It's just in the mind. That's why hypnosis works. This isn't hypnosis. This is body gnosis, if you will. So not limited by space. It communicates non-locally. It uses micro wormholes. If you want to look up a good explanation, Nassim Haramein, the black hole, WHOLE, I believe. I watched that when I was first awakening. And since then, I'm like, oh, this is what he's talking about. So there's past water, future water, and present water. And it's, basically the past holds your identity, residual stories, ancestral, absorbed programming. Oh my gosh, we are so programmed. The future water is your probability. But most of us hyper select the gloom and doom ones, not knowing that we're making those more likely. We're strengthening that path of least resistance. And so the present water is the anchor. That's why they always say the power of now and center in the now. Well, it's true. You need to place all of your conscious awareness into the now. That will inform your behavior, opportunities, perceptions, and then everything will harmonize into coherence. Timelines will reorganize. Reality will update. Not because you tried hard, but because you literally became the version of you whose water molecules matches that outcome, getting all of you on board with all of you. So this is timeline work without the drama, without regression, without having to understand every detail. You're simply bringing the waters into resonance so that your lived timeline is now, and it becomes this clear path of least resistance, no force, and just physics, essentially. All right. So what is the three waters process? I loosely explained it. Inside the certification, I teach you the framework because that becomes the backbone of all your sessions. And the past water, again, holds your stored imprints. The future water is not imagination. It's the chosen wish fulfilled into the present water where everything lands, literally. So your body, your nervous system, and your identity start behaving as the updated you now. And it's extremely detoxing. It's extremely hopeful. It's extremely fast. It's instantaneous, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. And there's really no integration time. You don't have to have a healing crisis to reorganize into coherence. It's repeatable, simple, elegant, instant. All right, so let's unpack the role of assisting frequencies in all of this. This is the book that I wrote many, many years ago. I had a spreadsheet. I do still have a spreadsheet. By the way, download the Anahata Codes, anahatacodes.com if you haven't already. The entire modality is free. Now, the three waters we've kind of gone into, but I want you to think of assisting frequencies as the interface that has the resonance of what you seek without you having to believe in it. Meaning, you don't have to have a crystal in front of you to access that energy. Why? Because you're already connected to the crystal, to the herb, to the color. It's really mind-boggling when you think about we are in this simulation pretending we are separate, but we aren't. We are the all. So assisting frequencies aren't forceful. They are codes that carry the resonance of the thing. Let's just check in and see the code that we need. Someone will have to look this up. I've never heard of it. It's an element, ytterbium, Ytterbium. I'll look it up later and make a post about it. There's Jan Sholden wrote a really good book called uh, gosh, what was that called? Something, homeopathy in the elements. And that'll give us the psychological breakdown because otherwise it's like an element. Okay, isn't that toxic? Yes. You're not ingesting the everything we put into the water. It's the essence of it. You can look up Luc Montagne's information about how it's the energy, it's same homeopathy, right? It's a diluted, there's not any piece of the thing in it. It's the vibrational essence, right? So it's very adaptogenic, toning up or down. You can't do it wrong or too much. So this is very repeatable, very teachable, scalable, and you don't need to channel the frequency, you as a practitioner. The client does. And it is spot on every time. When I teach you how to do it, you're like mind blown. It's absolutely stunning. 100% of the time, this people choose the exact code that they need based on what they've been asking for, past, present, in the now. And so assisting frequencies give the water the instructions needed without telling the client they need to be something else. It's like activating the superpower. It's powerful, it's clean, very sovereign. All right, let's look in the chat here. Ah, thank you, Barb. You're the best. Ytterbium. They give you the feeling that they've stepped out of life. All right, so this is a code to have you come back into your life. You feel you don't belong to the normal world of connections and work. Hey, I think at the essence, thanks, Barb, we all kind of feel like that as light workers. It's like we go about our 9 to 5 potentially, and we're like, wow, this is definitely not it. And I'm here to tell you, in the next 7 years, beginning July 2026 through 32, and I'm not doing this for like fear mongering, because obviously that timeline, we're going to experience chaos as a globe. Just absolute mayhem is going to be occurring as the matrix falls and we enter the golden age. And it's people like us who are helping people remember who they are that are opening that round door so that they can pass through, because the ticket is coherence. That's what it is. If you are incoherent, you're going to dissolve. And I don't mean literally dissolve, but it's going to be a rough awakening. Many of you guys have already been on your awakening path for many, many years, so you get it. But the whole world is going to go through it. It's a collective consciousness upgrade, which means people are going to be looking to people like you, and they're going to be like, how did you know all of this was going to, be needed? Well, we're ahead of the curve. All right. Hey, Katie, you're in Olympia, Washington. Oh, and yeah, Tracy, we're with you. I hope you're feeling good. All right, guys. So thanks for giving me that, Barb. I'll put the code and the post about it in Facebook later because you may want to make that water too after I share with you the water we're going to drink here in a few minutes. So um, there's going to be, I want to get into some real testimonials. Um, One of the most stunning testimonials happened early on with me. This gal had so much wrong that the doctors told her, go home, get comfortable, you're going to pass away. She had cancer. She had this weird heart arrhythmia thing that was painful. And they didn't know what it was. They poked and prodded and they did all sorts of things. It wasn't the cancer, but that was separate. Anyways, I remember thinking to myself, how is one code going to be enough? And I was just like, oh, I just got to give this up to God. I'm a non-denominational Christian, by the way. And I was like, okay, so Jesus, you take the wheel. What does she need? And we chose one crystal because I asked, is there one code, code for all of this? The answer is yes. And I was like, oh, okay. We looked up the crystal and we were just crying. Everything she had said, from emotional to physical to spiritual, it was like the crystal knew that's what she needed. It was addressed. And so, and then I can't claim, this for you all, but we encoded it. She drank it. The murmur stopped immediately, never returned. And I'll just tell you, because look, it was self-healing. It wasn't me. She healed her entire body. So this is the impact. I knew that I was like, okay, I've got to keep going with this. One gal, God bless her, she was a single mom, is a single mom with two kids, and she had just purchased a larger home, and it was pretty expensive. Her mortgage was expensive, and her parents said, you're over your head, but her business was doing so well. So she was like, no, I'm good. Well, things started going south. And then she was freaking out, right? And she contacted me and we got her back on board with her future through the letting go of the past and in the now. And within, I think it was 2 days or something like that, she signed two high-end clients. She was back in business, so to speak. And it's just like, wow, okay. Now, this works for lack of motivation too, or purpose. In fact, if you guys know what the gene keys are, and what's the other one? Human design, you can weave in any modality with this water activation for rapid results. But one gal came to me. I tend to magnetize females, but males are welcome. I don't know why that is. But anyway, so this gal, she was like, I don't know. I have no motivation. I feel like I was just born, but I have no idea what for. I've done all the work and and we did the session and something cracked open in her and she pulled the codes that she knew she would lead her on the path to self-discovery, and it did. And she contacted me a few days later, probably a week or two later, actually. It was quite a she went down this rabbit hole and she was like, I know what I'm meant to do, and I'm writing a book. And and it was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Now, my personal story, I did a future memory fulfilled water activation Valentine's Day 20, I always get this wrong, 2021, February, whatever, 5th, 14th, whatever it is. And I said to my daughter, I'm calling in my soulmate. And I closed my eyes and I imagined, don't know why, because I don't know anyone with a big boat. I just was like taken to this boat and I was at the front and my soulmate was behind me and we were looking at exotic islands. I put that picture on the top that AI generated, but I felt it so clearly and I drank the water and it was done. I was like, it is so. I met him in 24 hours and I've been traveling around the world. He happened to be a captain of mega yachts and then he ended up buying his own 62-foot catamaran and he has a business. And ironically, the boat that he bought from his partner is called Ripple. We didn't name it. I'm like, You can't make this up. And so every story is different. Every person's wanting either desire or something they want gone is different. It meets them all equally. And so there's no force. It's just water doing what it does best, which is remembering. So let's get into why this path is so different, because there's a lot of modalities out there and it is fundamentally different. There's nothing like it on the planet because a lot of work is in the mind, some work is in the energy field, but some is in body, somatics, breath work, but we use breath work as well. All beautiful, all useful. And I encourage you to combine them into water activation. But as I've been saying, water activation works on the substrate beneath all of those. It's the medium that informs identity itself. And so, again, it works fast because it's water. It works through timelines. This is absolutely astonishing and amazing, and just no one's doing this. There's no channeling involved, right? I'm picking up a message for you. No, it just is what it is. Again, there's no reliving trauma. Let me know how you feel about that. All the details and no. A judgeless witness, right? And feeling into the wish fulfilled. There's no diagnosis involved. You aren't the healer. Doesn't that take a load off? It's not like you're only going to succeed if you're good at this, because anyone can do what I teach you how to do. The client chooses and activates themselves, and we just guide the process. It's fast, it's gentle, it's repeatable. Again, 100% of the codes I've ever pulled make perfect sense. That's statistically improbable, right? It is what it is. And it's safe. I want to reiterate, this is tethered to biology. There's no altered states, there's no force. You can do this work for anyone, even if you don't ask them. Why? Because it's an offering. Their higher self can say no. It's not like Reiki where it's a force that you're pushing on to people. That's not how this works. It is assisting frequencies through your own internal response to the code based on what you want to have happen, your highest self. Full sovereignty and coherence of identity. How many times have you felt like you're here, but you want to be here, and you just don't match that there, and you don't know why? Well, when your water reorganizes, your system doesn't have to be convinced anymore. It's like, oh, it was always mine. It was always mine, and then it is. And so we're not trying to change someone. We're just helping them change their water that is telling them who they are. So we're getting to the source, and then reality follows. So it's unlike anything available on the planet right now. Now, what does a session feel like? Well, surprisingly simple and powerful. You're going to feel it in a minute. There's no shaking or purging, or there could be crying, but that's, processing, not to do with the water itself. And there's a softening. There's a sense that the body, especially the nervous system, is no longer bracing. It really is just like loosening in sovereignty. And there's quiet clarity. Things, background noise disappears. You got laser focus, not from thinking, but through this. I don't have to figure it out. It's all working ahead of the curve, in the flow. And you may notice tingling, warmth, coolness, pulsing hands, anywhere, but it's not overwhelming. It's just enough to feel like, wow, my body is Something's happening, reorganizing. Um, Perhaps one of the biggest blessings that people report is neutrality. The shit that used to trigger them, and it's not numbness, it's not avoidance, it's just the absence of friction. You know, the things that used to be sticky are smooth, and the old stuff has no power anymore because it truly has been um, resolved. Of course, as I said, a timeline shift. The feeling that something has just clicked into place. The answers that they were wishing for next day, even the same next moment. You could have a session, get in your car and meet, X, Y, and Z, people, places, things that give you the exact alignment that you've been trying to get forever and you're frustrated. Unexpected ease. It's like the tarot card, the Fool. It's just like, yeah, I got my knapsack and my little dog, and we're going off a cliff because all is well. Like, and it's not spiritual bypassing either. You do encounter dukkha or pain. It's just that you process it in a different way. Now, people, a gentle afterglow. A lot of people say, wow, I'm just calm, clear, I'm spacious, I'm embodied. Feels like, oh, one of my favorite quotes from way back when. And I used to have a folder I have hundreds and hundreds of quotes, but one gal said to me, I finally feel like that piano that I was carrying for 20 years has been dropped off at the thrift store. I'm just like, see ya, and I'm moving ahead. It's so liberating. So, yeah, the water leads, the story follows. So, let's talk about the career path and what can you do with this? Because it's not just about a session. Okay, this is a legitimate career path within the emerging in-demand field of quantum coherence and water-based somatics. Go look up quantum coherence and water-based somatics. Crickets. And yet it is so safe, so client-led, so fast. I'm just really excited for all of you who decide to add this to any existing modality. So raise your hand if you're a Reiki, massage, any type of coach, therapist, energy work, yoga. You could even be a chef or a painter, right? Encoding into the water of the food and the paint, right? Sound healing, of course. I'll never forget when a famous singer reached out to me and I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to say who she is. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, she took my course for her voice to encode her voice, and she got more popular. Like a siren call, I don't know. But anyway, no force, it's just an offering. So you guys can do one-on-one private sessions. People charge between 222 to 333. Those are angel numbers. I think mine is 299. Don't go lower than 99. You agree to that when you become a practitioner. You can do free sessions, absolutely. But if you're receiving an exchange, which I recommend you do, it needs to be a certain point. You can do group activations and workshops. So exciting. You can do retreat facilitations. I am not the type of founder that says, this is mine. Only approved ways will be stamped with approval, and the rest. I say, remember and take what I've given and. I love it when people start writing best-selling books and things like that involve this, that take it to another level. You have my blessing. My work is your work. You can, again, write books. You can be a speaker. You can build signature programs between 500 to 5,000 or more. Small group containers, hybrid coaching models, whatever, VIP intensives. I've been waiting for someone to get certified and go into the corporate arena where they could go into HR and do water activations. because the science is so solid now that it's not woo. It's just like, here it is. You can leave the codes out of all of it, right? Because that is a little bit more like woo. You can go straight with what it does to the water and have them do the activations, and boom, suddenly the team is really gelling together. So you can create 4 to 5 figure offers. Just know that in any niche: health, relationships, creativity, personal development, leadership, entrepreneurship. Um, yeah, I think that's all of them. Manifestation, whatever it is. Okay. And add it on to what you're doing or make it solely what you offer. But really, it's just about helping people remember their inherent intelligence through the medium that is already them, water. All right, guys. So how do we do this? And then we're going to do the activation. Well, there's lots of pathways, but for the certified water activation, you literally just enroll, and there are 5 classes. They're on demand. They're 90 minutes each. Okay. When you go to the website, wateractivation.com, and I'll put the link in the chat here in a few, because sometimes the forward doesn't work. It like lags, and it's a long URL, but the forward should work. If it doesn't work for you, just hang tight. Wateractivationcertification.com. You'll learn more about like everything that I just said, the path and what it includes, what it's about. But you're going to get more than just lessons. You're going to get session forms, how to run your business. You know, you can even contact others and do peer exchanges. And by the way, if you need help getting your 5 sessions done for certification, you can post who wants a session, and boy, you'll have dozens. That's why you can move through the training at whatever, maybe you're joining this and you're like, I need to get some income coming in right now doing what I love. Boom. 4 days from now, 1 hour. I'm sorry. If you do, 4 days of intensive, like two classes per day, you could do it. And then if you're like me, I know I'm not that zealous, I just want to take it easy. I would recommend about 2 weeks. So an hour a day, including all of your coursework, by the way. So it's not so intensive because it's simple and the client does the work. You're the container. So you can start serving immediately. Awesome. Now, there's a gateway offer that I am giving you all because it's 11/11 soon, and I want it to be incredibly easy for you to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm doing this. It's normally 1,500 for the certification, which, if you know anything about certifications, is already very, very affordable. But the tuition, I don't know why my system wouldn't let me do 50% off. I could only do 49. So that was weird, but I was like, whatever, I guess it's meant to be. So it's $765. And if you need payment plans, it's 3 payments of $290. And that's it forever for lifetime access, all on-demand training. And what I think is so cool is you get access to all future live cohorts. I'm going to be teaching this over time, over the years. You'll always have a seat, and you betcha I'm going to be upgrading. If you're in any of my classes and you've been on more than one cohort of anything, you know that you're like, whoa, this just got, and you'll always be invited without having to invest again. So wateractivationcertification.com. Now I want to give you a chance to work through resistance. I know this is like, what? I don't want to go there, but I do. So, because I love resistance. If it's true, cool. If it's a hell no, awesome. If it's I don't know if I can do it, or I can't afford it, or maybe later, this is all normal, but we need to look at this honestly. And so anyone can learn water activation. So you've got to erase the I'm not sure I can do this. It's not a thing. You don't have to be psychic. You don't have to channel beings. You don't have to see energy. You don't have to know about the chakras. You don't have to know about, I mean, what a beautiful part of the reason why Anahata codes came through for me was because I was getting frustrated at the magnitude of information that I needed to learn about each crystal alone, just the crystal category. There's like 50 categories. And I was like, how am I ever going to learn all of this? Right? Well, I don't have to. You don't have to. It's absolutely stunning when you find what you need, you go look it up and it's like, oh, it's right there, plain to see. And it's an adventure. Um, Maybe you're saying, well, I can't afford it. And look, I've been there before more times than I want to admit. And it's like, it's so depressing when you want something, but you can't. So it's not a 3K to 10K thing. Okay. It's just 765. And if you can swing the 290 times three, right? Imagine this, you do 290, you get certified and you're doing it, and then your sessions are paying for the other two payments, and then you're off and running, right? So, and also, as I said, maybe later, we're in it right now. The round door moment collectively and individually is happening at warp speed. Just look around. So the world is shifting into chaos and we need to find our center point. And luckily you're early, that's a blessing. Later is fine, but now is when you're needed. And then the other thing I want to just, ask yourself, if it were free, would I do it? And if the answer is yes, then all your buts are excuses. Sorry to say. But anyway, the last thing I want to say about all of this is we need to take a big breath and stop being so serious about life, right? I have to get it right. I have to be on this perfect spiritual path. I've got to have the next step and everything lined up. No, coherence doesn't ask for that. It doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for willingness, aliveness, spontaneity, trying something new, breaking your old patterns. Think about what you're going to be able to do for yourself. And so whether you join the certification or not, take a dance class, learn to paint, you know, do something different. Say yes to something that makes absolutely no logical sense, but lights you up. Okay. Life starts moving again when you stop gripping so tightly and you really just promise yourself that you're going to say yes to something soon, now. And the universe responds to that movement. All right. So let's play more. Water loves play. If you've ever seen Veda Austin's stuff, go there on Facebook. It's just so fun. It's just amazing what water does with you. All right, so we are going to do the mini demo now, and you're going to be blown away in a good way. And so this is just a taste of what's possible. This is one tiny little aspect of the process. It's not the process, okay? Because obviously those are about an hour to 90 minutes long. This is a couple minutes. So it's just a brief, here's how it feels. And so what I want you to do is grab your glass of water. And I know that the water is already softened through hearing this. So that's okay. Take a sip as a benchmark. Just notice. Now, imagine the photons from your heart as you breathe in, golden light coming through into your heart, and green energy expanding past your field also through the water. And breathe in again and send the water gratitude. So you're blessing the water. And I want you to know that as you're doing that, I'm adding a light code to your water that's very, very special through the wormhole of your water. It's connected through the screen. I know, mind blown, but it is. And that's actually been proven. Luc Montagnier or whatever proved that without a doubt. And so did many people who talk about entanglement, etc. Any rate, the code's already there. It's going in, and it's adaptogenic. So we're going to drink this in a second, and this is going to be an assisting frequency to help you remember. That's all. That's it. I want you to become the lucid dreamer in the dream. I want you to start living in the now through your body as the lattice versus the veil, right? We want to break the matrix wide open and step into sovereignty. You're going to be, so just think of this as the assisting frequency. My name's Morpheus and I'm you're Neo and I'm giving you the red pill. And you're like, okay, let's take the red pill. That's the code. All right. So before we drink it, because it's in there now, I want you to just close your eyes and you can put the water in front of you and just sink into your own awareness. You've already blessed the water. It's now holding hands, connecting, and it's already vibrating, pulsing with that code that I put in there. And I want you to imagine just a few steps ahead of you in time that there is this future version of you, not perfect, but clear, aligned, at ease. And this future you knows how to move through life without bracing, without looping, without carrying old stories in the body. And they absolutely love who they've become. They trust their path. They feel at home inside themselves. Look at them. Sense them. How are you standing? How do they breathe? What do they wear? What's the expression on their face? What's the quality in their eyes? Maybe you've just received your certification, your new path. Just notice whatever arises, the future you, and they're walking towards you. They're not separate. They are just a few levels of coherence away. And as they get closer to you, feel the signature that they carry, the clarity, the softness, the grounded confidence, the quiet knowing. And just let that feeling, not the picture, not the story, just the feeling begin to move into your body, imagining it entering your field, your breath, your fluid, your water. And now give your future self a hug. They know what you've been through. They're encouraging you to keep going, to let it be simple, to know that there's nothing that needs fixing. You are already that. And just take one more breath in and let that future water commingle with your present water. There's no effort. It's just a yes. It's just now. And the feeling is alive in your system. And you can just take a few more breaths of gratitude that you've aligned with this version of you in the now. With gratitude, you are open to the divine synchronicities that will unfold, not through force, but through science, through water, through biology, and through natural laws. One more deep breath in and out. It is so. All right, when you're ready, open your eyes, and I'd love for you to take a sip. And just notice how your body responds. Your future water, not a fantasy. This is a memory from ahead of you arriving now into the past. How does the water taste? Is it different than the water you brought? How is that so? Well, get used to it. It's a wild and wacky process, but I love it so much. One time I did a session recently, within a year ago, with a gal, and she chose a code that was, we didn't know what the code was. We looked it up, and it was exactly what she needed. And it was earthy, very earthy. I forgot, unfortunately, the name of the code. I wish I could remember, but I just remember we encoded it in the water. And by the way, you'll be sipping on all the codes you deliver, which is so cool because you're activating it in the way that you need it, that your body needs. So you're going to continually upgrade as you do sessions. Anyway, we both took a sip of the water, and I said dirty, and she said earthy or something at the same time. The water had changed, and in the same way, the same taste profile. We were like, whoa, that's interesting. Anyways, what are you going to expect in the next few hours? Let's see how the water's changed. Let's see here. I always love hearing that love story of yours, Anahata. Me too. Me too. Oh my gosh, it's wild. And yes, can we find a general frequency to neutralize malaria in Africa? So guys, the codes aren't um, neutralize malaria in Africa. There's nothing you can look up that says that. But for each person and put in the body of water, you could ask for what is the assisting frequency that will have the effect to neutralize malaria in Africa in the most efficient way. And you do grid work. You put it in the water and you drop it in, or you tell someone who's there, take a photo of your water. Okay, and you put it in there and they drop it in. And if you think that things like that don't change, oh my God. More examples than I can name, but my favorite recent one was the Category 5 hurricane that we got together and encoded and dissolved. And it was supposed to be right over my house and in Venice, Florida. And it was bad, but it wasn't 5. And the Gulf waters did exactly what we wanted it to do. We were like, bring the wind shear from the north and all this stuff. And we pulled codes and we put it in. And the Gulf, the temperature dropped by 12 degrees or something. It was an anomaly, but it was like in science, was it up or down? I think it was down. Anyway, it broke it up, and boy, was that impressive. Anyway, yes, you can do big things through grid work. Renita said, I did a session with a client and she was looking for a particular job. And 15 minutes after the call, she got a call from a job she had wanted 2 months before. Yes, Renita, I know, right? It's so much fun when people get results. I really love that about you. Hug, thanks. Hey, Tara, I love you. Let's see. I had a gal. Guys, I didn't ask the practitioners to come. They just can't get enough of this. I think it was Barb who said, hey, I'm coming. I can't get enough of this. I love it. And Barb, you've been so helpful. But yeah, there's lots of practitioners on here, and I didn't ask them to share anything about their experience. I probably should have. But Barb says, and I appreciate you guys doing so. I had a gal who said she couldn't say no to anyone and had too many people taking advantage of her. Instantly, she got her control back, and it so amazed me how quickly and easy it was to move forward. Yeah, right? Um, Joanna, how are you, love? I thought I couldn't afford to take any class. In reality, I couldn't afford not to. I've actually started to save money. Yay! I'm so excited. It will come quickly. Stick with it. Yep, Sharon's off to work. Okay. The water feels so gentle and smooth, isn't it? It's different, Angelina said. Definitely different. Smoother on the tongue, easier to swallow. More nourishing. Oh, yes, it is. Guys, the thing about this water is codes are not. If you do the blessing and people start drinking this type of water, their health and outlook and well-being will improve just from that. It's astonishing. Michelle says my water feels vibrant and alive, and Sprite Spring says it feels wider. I love that. It's true. And you will feel the same way in the upcoming days. The code, will you share the code I used? Yes. So Renita, I wasn't going to mention which one it was because I know that it can trigger people's like, oh my God, aliens. But it's the 3i Atlas code. Because you guys hate to break it to you. 3i Atlas is not a spaceship. It's also not a comet. It is the Blue Kachina, if you want to look up in the Hopi prophecy. Spoiler alert, that's what it is. It's ushering in a new age of awareness through the light codes of conscious questioning and exploration. And we're going beyond our dome, we're going beyond the matrix. And this is extremely unifying and it's evolutionary DNA activating. So it's the code for 3i Atlas. No, you're not going to channel some aliens or anything like that. That's not what it's about. Look up the Blue Kachina and just realize that this is the centering code. And so, yeah, I will put the, actually, I think if you go to my YouTube or my Facebook, you'll see in any of the replays for the hour-long activation about 3i Atlas, the code. But I'll go ahead and type it in here. Anyone have any quick questions? We're going to wrap up. Comments, favorite stories about sessions you've done. It always blows my mind how perfect. Even with people who I think, ooh, are they going to be able to actually pull a code? You know, that's my human side humaning. But then it comes and we go, wow. Okay, so that's the code. The spaces are just as important as the numbers. And if you take the 3i Atlas guided activation, I tell you about the perfection of the number sequences, and there's 9 of them, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's it, guys. Coherence is the new currency, and water is the master key. If that's one thing you get from this, download the Anahata codes. You know, choose your path. Go, you know, enroll in a dance class, become a water activation practitioner, either or, right? Do something new. And if you go to wateractivation.com, you're gonna get the countdown. It's like 2 more days, I guess, until the 12th, right? So the 11th, the 12th at 12 a.m. is when it'll go back to the regular price. And just to remind you, you know, there is a payment plan. And you can get going right away and certify in as little as 4 days. If you have questions, direct message me. There's a lot of content on that page. And for those of you who choose to steward this modality, you guys are going to be at the forefront of a completely new water-based somatic and quantum healing field that is going to be looked back at. Just think about how many people are Reiki certified in the world or who are hypnotists. This is going to be like that in rapid, you know, you're ahead. You're ahead of the curve. You're here. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll put the URL in the chat because thank you. I choose it now. I type too fast and my spelling is funny. Thanks so much. I love me some you. Oh, I love you too. I just doused that I need to enroll in ballroom class. Do it. That's so fun. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Direct message me for any questions. Yes, thank you. Thank you. You are so welcome. All right, guys. Bye for now.